Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM. KFYO. Joining me on the phones right now to talk about a big rally that's going to be happening in Houston on Monday. David Bossie, president of Citizens United. He's also Fox News contributor, former deputy campaign manager for President Donald Trump's campaign. David, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here.
Well, thanks for having me.
Let's talk about this big rally that's going to be held in Texas next week. You know, it's I mentioned this earlier on the show. It seems like one of the popular narratives from the media is that people don't like the president, that he's not very popular, that the support is starting to wane. Yet every single time I see a rally, it's a rock star. I mean, there are people lined up around the block for him.
We can't find venues big enough to hold them. It is just like, and I was in charge as the deputy campaign manager. In the 2016 presidential campaign, I was the person leading the scheduling, the strategic scheduling, and the venues, and making sure we were going to the right places at the right time and putting this president, then the candidate in front of people. I see more energy today. We were doing 6 events a day in September and October, really, of 2016. 6 events a day around the country, 3 time zones. We were putting 10 to 20,000 people inside a venue. We'd have many more thousands outside that couldn't get in. And I thought to myself, I'll never see more energy than I am right now. And, of course, today I'm proven wrong because this president is more popular today than ever. If you look across the country, whether it's in Kentucky this week or in Ohio or anywhere he's going, Florida, people are lining up for hours and hours, spending their entire day to get in to hear his message. It's about to see a president to deliver his honest and truthful message to the American people, and that's what Texans want to hear. They want to hear the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Why is it that the media either refuses to understand it or they just don't get it? Because when the president's
it's not
out,
that they're complicit. It's a different. Look, the president says that, and the left-wing media goes crazy because the president says the media are the enemy of the people. And what he's saying by that, and what he means by it, and what he says very clearly is the fake news media, which are complicit against him, which are complicit with Hillary Clinton and the left-wing mobs to undermine his presidency, to deliver the narrative that he is not a legitimate president because he didn't win the popular vote, because he didn't campaign in New York State and California, right? That's where they won the popular vote. He didn't campaign there. He campaigned and he won all the other places. So the narrative of the mainstream media is not by accident. It is by design. And if you look at the talking heads on the networks, on the cable news shows, with the exception of Fox News, you see that this president is under assault by the lies that they perpetrate every single day, and they do the same thing to Ted Cruz.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be a big rally in Houston. Why do you think that Houston was picked and this venue was picked? Since you ran it back in 2016.
First of all, there's only so many venues, and the president promised to fill a big stadium in Texas, and I think that I don't know how many it holds on Monday night, but I'm going to guess in the high 15 to 20,000, and it is going to be a raucous crowd. It is going to be high energy. This president is going to come and deliver a speech just like he does it every time, but he is going to tell the folks of Texas, he's going to tell the folks what he's been doing over the last 2 years and how Ted Cruz has been instrumental to his efforts across the board on policy after policy, whether it's tax cuts or foreign policy. Ted Cruz has been there hand in hand to make sure the conservative agenda that Texans want and that the American people want has been passed here in Washington, and are moving America forward and really grabbing a hold of that America First philosophy that this president has taken a hold of first during the campaign of 16, but now in the first 2 years of his presidency. It's been an amazing thing to watch. The accomplishments are off the charts. He does something every day to help the men and women who are whether they are blue-collar workers, whether they are the members of the Border Patrol, whether they're the men and women that make up ICE. He is helping and supporting the men and women in uniform or the police and law enforcement around this country, and Ted Cruz is right there with them.
Visiting with David Bossie here on the Chad Hasty Show. Let me ask you about the blue wave. I think it's going to be a blue drip that we're going to see in November. There's a news story out today that many don't plan on voting. I think Republicans will show up. I think after the Kavanaugh hearings, I think with the economy going in the direction it's going, I think, and I hope I'm right on this, that Republicans will reward the president and reward Republican members of Congress by showing up and voting. What do you think the midterms are going to look like?
You know, I think we're in for a tough fight in a little over 2 weeks from now. But I do believe that the Kavanaugh effect is real. I do believe that the left, has done us a favor in energizing the Republican base to tell the American people, educate them, not on purpose, but by accident, that it's either jobs or mobs, and that's where we are. The left is unhinged. They're angry. Look, there was just a videotape yesterday of some psychopath in Texas ripping up Ted Cruz signs. I saw it on the news this morning, and he's angry. He's striking out at the person who's taking pictures of him tearing up Ted Cruz signs. Look, that's part of it, but it's the people in the streets. The left wing has been unhinged. They hate this president more than they love our country, and that is where we are. And we have to show that in November that Republicans get reelected to Congress and to the United States Senate in bigger numbers. We're going to have a bigger majority in the United States Senate. That's a fact. Whether we pick up 2 seats, 3 seats, 4 or 5 as a plus to the United States Senate numbers is going to be fantastic. It's going to come down to the House of Representatives. So we need every Texas voter to turn out on Election Day to make sure President Trump's not on the ballot, but his agenda is.
Yeah, absolutely. Were you surprised? You know, you hear this from the left, and Beto O'Rourke, he likes to bring it up, that, you know, how could Ted Cruz get along with Donald Trump? Were you surprised that these two were able to put, you know, feelings aside, animus from the campaign aside, and work together?
Not at all. First of all, they're both professionals, okay? And what campaigns go through the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows, the hard choices of campaigns, the tough rhetoric that makes up campaigns, and stressful debates. And then they went through that. And Donald Trump and 16 other phenomenal Republican candidates took the stage to try to win the nomination. Donald Trump won, and 15 others didn't. Some of those people are in his cabinet. Look at Rick Perry, the former governor of Texas, is in the cabinet today. Ted Cruz is a phenomenal asset and somebody who is a true partner of this president. This president puts that stuff behind him. You look at Lindsey Graham as an example. Look, he's a stunningly strong supporter of this president. But if you remember back in the campaign, Donald Trump gave out Lindsey Graham's cell phone number, and you have to remember that Lindsey Graham did that funny video destroying his cell phone in 100 different ways because he was getting inundated with phone calls. And now they are partners, just like Ted Cruz and Donald Trump are. So the people who support President Trump, the people who support the America First agenda that is Donald Trump's, need to send Ted Cruz. We must have Ted Cruz. First of all, Ted Cruz on his own is one of the great conservative leaders in Washington. He is a very good friend of mine, and I have been a long time supporter of his, and he deserves to come back to Washington, D.C. as the United States Senator from Texas because he cares about Texas. He cares about the people of Texas. He cares about the culture of Texas. He cares about every aspect of what makes Texas great, and that's the difference between him and his. Quite honestly, now somebody who I think his opponent is so desperate now, he's going to be just throwing everything up against the wall to try to get something to stick. And Ted's an incredibly disciplined guy, and I hope that he's just going to continue to run his campaign. And this president is going to bring a lot of energy to Texas on Monday.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a great time down in Houston. David Bossie, I do appreciate you joining us. Before I let you go, I want you to plug your book, Let Trump Be Trump. Tell folks where they can pick it up and what it's all about.
Well, Let Trump Be Trump is a book that I wrote on the campaign along with Corey Lewandowski, my co-author, who managed the campaign for 18 months and is somebody who is, like myself, is still very close to this president. And we wrote Let Trump Be Trump that was the campaign book. We have a new book coming out November 27th called Trump's Enemies. And I hope everybody can get a chance to go to Amazon, look at Trump's Enemies, which is truly the mainstream media, Congress, and even some Republicans who are not for this president, not for his agenda, and we really, I think, dissect it incredibly well and in detail, and I think people will love it. So Trump's Enemies comes out November 27th. People should try to get a look at that. I appreciate that.
Very good, David, and hopefully we'll get you on after that book comes out or soon, close to the end, so we can get you on and talk about that even more. Hey, David Bossie, as always, I really appreciate you coming on with us, and I think we're going to have a good time down in Houston on Monday.
Look forward to it. Thanks.
Thank you, David. That's David Bossie. He's president of Citizens United, Fox News contributor, and also former deputy campaign manager for Trump for president. Chad Hasty Show, KFYO.